Hey guys, LevelCap here and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is getting 2 new maps at some point in the near future. No release date has been announced yet, but players can expect an 8x8 kilometer island map on the Adriatic Sea and a 4x4 kilometer map set in a desert city. The island map will feature dense forest on its northern side with Mediterranean coast to the south. In the center, it will be a snowy mountain range, and it'll also feature a variety of buildings that are of a different style and age depending on where they're located. The desert city map will be a war-torn area with a dense urban center. There will be small villages alongside a river that spans the eastern and southern edges of the map. Battlegrounds' current map is 8x8 kilometers in total, but that does also include the surrounding ocean. The actual land area is closer to 6x6 kilometers. So while the 4x4 desert map sounds like it could be a little bit small, I'm sure the dense urban area will make it feel a lot bigger than it actually is. Personally, I'm really excited for the new maps. It sounds like they'll offer a lot of unique gameplay and tactics that the current map might not support. The devs also tweeted out a short video of a new weapon being added in next month's big update. Players are speculating that it's the RPK machine gun, which fires 7.62 rounds. The game's current LMG, which is the MG249, is one of the rarest and deadliest guns in the game. If the RPK is much easier to find, it could actually have a pretty big impact on the game's meta. Now in general, Battlegrounds is still chocked full of bugs and netcode issues and all kinds of crazy things going on, but that's not really slowing down the growth of the game. The next big patch for PUBG is expected to deploy early next week, though it was initially planned to release this week. Ubisoft have delayed the release of Rainbow Six Siege's Hong Kong DLC. Earlier this year, they shared the roadmap for Siege's second year of content updates called Seasons. Season 2 was scheduled to start this month with the Hong Kong update, featuring 2 new operators, a new map, and new weapons. However, the devs changed things up, and instead, Season 2 will be dedicated to improving the game's core systems. Called Operation Health, the main goal of this system will be one-step matchmaking, faster servers, better rollout of new features, bug fixes, and many other things. These updates will roll out over the next 3 months until the season's conclusion at the end of July. Season 3 will feature the Hong Kong content and starts in August. Unfortunately, some of the original Season 3 content, which was the Polish theme DLC, has been cancelled because of Operation Health. Players can still expect 2 Polish operators to be released, one with Season 3 and one during Season 4. The map that would have been released with them, however, has been cancelled. The Polish cosmetic content, however, has not been cut and will be released alongside the operators. Personally, I'm really glad Ubisoft are dedicating this much effort to cleaning up Siege. New content doesn't mean much if the same old bugs and gameplay issues are still around. Recently, there's been some confusion regarding the 2 night maps DICE are testing out on Battlefield 1 CTE. Initially, Nivelle Nights was announced as coming to Battlefield 1 premium owners in June, with no mention of it eventually being made available to all players. The second night map is currently available on CTE for premium owners, but no word on release details has been announced. However, during EA's Q4 earnings call, they hinted that the map might be available to all players, in addition to the standard fare of premium DLC content. Overall, EA gave investors the impression that they're moving away from the premium DLC model and instead focusing on delivering more DLC content for free. Now, specifically what their actual plans are is still somewhat unclear, but overall it does sound like Battlefield 1 and Battlefront 2 players can expect a bit more free content than the previous games have offered. For Battlefield 1 specifically, my guess is we'll see more maps and weapon variants added to the game for all players. Both of the new night maps would make solid additions to the core roster of maps, and hopefully we'll see DICE release them for the entire player base and not just premium. Overwatch's next event will most likely be anniversary themed to celebrate the game's first birthday. Data miners recently found new box art for the Game of the Year edition, as well as new in-game content including anniversary loot boxes. Blizzard haven't confirmed or denied the anniversary event rumors, but Overwatch did release on May 24th of last year, so we should have some info soon. BioWare's new IP, codenamed Dylan, has been delayed from its March 2018 release to sometime thereafter, so more development could be committed to the game's life service component. Where that leaves the future of Mass Effect is unclear. Plans for a follow-up to Mass Effect Andromeda seem to be on hold for the foreseeable future. The game's developers, BioWare Montreal, have shifted to a support role for BioWare's new IP. Dylan is rumored to be somewhat like Destiny, with a strong emphasis on co-op and extended post-launch DLC events and content. Square Enix have put the studio behind 2016's episodic Hitman game up for sale. IO Interactive has been the sole developer of the Hitman franchise since its first release in 2000. 2016's Hitman had a very rough launch. There was no mention of it being an episodic game until a month after its initial announcement. Then it missed its release date of December 8, 2015. Eventually, the first episode was released in March of 2016, with the final episode releasing in October. Plans for 2 additional seasons of content, each offering several new episodes, were talked about by the developers. Unfortunately, Square Enix holds the rights to the franchise, so it's unlikely more content will be released for Hitman at this point. Square Enix has stated that they're letting the studio go so they can focus on their key franchises and studios. They recently put the Deus Ex franchise on hiatus after the most recent entry, Mankind Divided, failed to meet the sales expectations. The company's overall sales are up 20% over their previous fiscal year, so what they're doing with these franchises is kind of odd, especially considering their legacy and the following they've attracted over the years. Payday 2 is getting an Ultimate Edition on PC. It replaces the base version of the game and all its various DLC listings with a single $45 purchase. Overkill recently confirmed production has begun on Payday 3, but Payday 2 will still be getting new content and updates well into 2018. The Ultimate Edition launches on June 8th, and any subsequent updates or new content will be given to all players for free. Console owners of the game will be happy to hear Overkill are working to bring the Ultimate Edition to them as well, though no release date has been announced. Overkill have also announced a VR update for the game, with a teaser trailer showing off an early version of the final product. A beta for this update is planned to release at some point this year. VR has been handicapped by a lack of games with long-term replayability. Payday 2 would be a perfect solution for shooter fans looking to get a more complete experience out of VR. Its gameplay and level design lend themselves to a solid VR experience, and it's already got a boatload of content to play through. Last week, we reported on a rumor that the sci-fi robot shoot-'em-up Vanquish would finally be making its way to PC. Well, thankfully, it turns out those rumors were true. Sega and Platinum Games recently announced a renewed commitment to getting proper PC ports of their games released. The classic brawler Bayonetta was the first such release and has been very well received by players. Hopefully the same will be true for Vanquish. The release trailer advertises unlocked frame rates and resolution support for 4K monitors, so it does sound pretty promising. In our final bit of news this week, footage of Black Ops 3 Zombie Chronicles has been released by Activision. The DLC includes remasters of several iconic zombie maps in the COD franchise and will run you about $30. The DLC releases on May 16th for PlayStation 4, with PC and Xbox One players getting it 30 days later. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.